And Shantae came. I thought he was speaking. Okay, board. My body. And I was like, what for? We are ready to begin. Whenever you are, Vice Chair Crenshaw.
I'd like to call the Clackamas Community College Board Work Session to order. Today is Wednesday, July 16, 2025, and it's around 6:35.
6:37, yep.
6:37 p.m. I will turn it over to Katie Riggs to get us started.
Yeah, thank you.
Gotta do that.
I am getting us started, board. Thank you for having us this evening. And I will do a full screen mode. And then I will reduce this and that should be good. Okay. Doing two jobs at one time. We got this. It's only two. All right, board, thank you so much for having us this evening. My name is Katie Riggs, and I'm the Executive Assistant to President Tim Cook. And then I want to allow my other participants here to introduce themselves.
My name's Tina Francisco Evans, and I'm the Program Coordinator for the Cougar Leap Office.
Good evening, everyone. Casey Layton, she, her pronouns. I am the Chief Culture and Impact Officer here at the college.
So we have been working together, the three of us, to come to you on a couple of different work sessions. So this will be one of a few that we will be offering for you. We will be introducing these will be kind of like a mini session for you to introduce our newly updated strategic equity resource tool that we have here at the college. We will have a lot of information coming at you tonight, and we're going to go kind of quick because we only have 30 minutes, and we apologize in advance for that. And there'll be plenty of time at the future sessions for any questions, and then we will have a section this evening for discussion and some questions. So tonight's objectives are to introduce the new Cougar Pause tool, which is the strategic equity resource that we were just mentioning. And this is in contrast to the interim equity decision-making framework that you had been previously introduced to. We think that the board could utilize the Cougar Pause in multiple different ways. So we're hoping to, I would say, inspire you to think of all the multiple ways that a board can utilize the Cougar Pause in any of the decision-making opportunities that the board has been presented with at any time. And we are presenting tonight a proposal that we have for you on how we would love for a start of how we can help the board start utilizing the Cougar Pause. And we want to just kind of start small. So we are going to get this accomplished by providing you with some background information.
Thank you.
And we will talk through where we were and how we got to where we are today. And then we will provide you with some resources so that you'll have some time to review those and really look them over and provide us with some of your thoughts and your questions that you might have about those resources. We can clarify the purpose of the tool. We can decide, let you see it, read it, feel it, all of those things, come up with all the emotions that go along with those items. And we have some discussion questions for you regarding the tool, and then we'll go into what our next steps are. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague here, Casey Layton, to take it away.
Oh, okay, there we go. I think I got the mic close enough to me. All right. So here, what you're looking at right now is a snapshot of our original interim equitable decision-making framework. This framework was created by the DEI committee back in about 2020. I could be getting, it might have been 2019, but 2020-ish was when it was launched here at the college. They worked with Clark Community College, who already had a working tool, and modified and went through some learning sessions with them, modified what Clark Community College had and created something unique for Clackamas Community College. The resource that you've had here, many of you have already been exposed to it, but we didn't use it I guess as intensely as we could have, but it was in use for lots of different things that we had here at the college. One of the things that we wanted to do was there was a lot of work and thought put into this process, honor that work and the thought and energy that went into this initial resource, but then it was we wanted to add to it and take it to its next evolution. And so it was really the cornerstone of how we built the updated strategic equity resource that you'll be seeing that we call the Cougar Pause now. Isn't that a fun name? All right. Thank you. So the updated strategic equity tool is, we want to kind of share with you what it is and what it isn't. So first, what it isn't, and we want to be very clear about this, it is not, this resource is not a magical fix for solving for all of racism. It is a one tool among many other options and data points and things that help us to move towards more equitable outcomes. It is not a linear, simple, quick checklist that you can use to be checked off. And it really invites more depth and conversation and collaboration and doesn't necessarily focus on speed. And this tool isn't here to cause shame or to call people out. It is about reflection and not judgment and learning to work together and moving like items forward in a more positive way. What it is actually is a resource to gather information from people impacted by systems that govern our culture, norms, and access to power and resources. This tool is meant to help us better understand the perspectives and experiences of those who are most often affected by systemic structures. It's about listening, learning, and making decisions that are reflective to those realities. This tool is about, it's an invitation to pause and be more intentional rather than defaulting to our ingrained habits and patterns of thinking.
Pause.
Yes. Are you pausing? Thank you. Yeah.
We get it, Katie.
Just in case you didn't, Katie is here to help us really bring this presentation to life. That's right. And what this tool is really about also is we're not here to really rush through things. It's a prompt to slow down. That's why it's called the pause. This is a resource for a mindset shifts, growth, and continuous improvement. It's not a one-time exercise. It's not linear in nature. But what it does do is create a sequence of a framework of or sequence in how you can ask questions. So the original one was more like a database of questions and categories of questions. The new tool and updated tool creates a sequence in how you might possibly ask these questions to yourself, but you still might go back and forth. And so I'm going to let Tina take it from here.
Thank you. That's a great transition because that's what I was going to talk about. So what you see in front of you, we have two different visual versions of the framework. So the one in front of you is the simple flat version. And the other one, which we'll be looking at in the next slide, is a detailed 3D visual. And we intentionally created two versions because we want this tool to resonate with all types of learners and to be adaptable across a variety of contexts and scenarios. So the framework consists of 5 key sections, begins at the foundation, moves to collaborate, implement, communicate, and then evaluate, learn, and revise. And what's key about this tool is that it is bidirectional. So you can move forward and you can move backwards, and you can also revisit different stages in the tool as you need. And so this is the more detailed visual framework. And this visual framework is actually very intentional and thoughtfully designed. So the more closer you look, the more details you can see. And every time I look at it, I see something different. And each image within this image is supposed to mirror the everyday real actions we see across the college here at Clackamas. You can see here sports, you see music, you see STEM, you see the different disciplines, the diversity of our students, And again, that's intentional, and that's what makes this tool practical and relatable. And lastly, as you can see in the very center, there's that big pause button with the cougar paw on it. And that is by design, of course. It's a reminder for users to slow down, to reflect before moving on, because reflection is just important as action. So you should have in front of you, thank you, Katie, the large visual framework placemat and the Cougar Paws question flip book. And we are going to take, we're going to take 10 minutes to read through these materials. So we're actually going to read through the flip book on your own. And feel free to jot down your thoughts if things arise for you. We will be having a discussion afterwards. We'll put the questions up on the screen so you can see them. Yeah, and jot down any notes you have. So we'll take 10 minutes now. Can we get a timer?
I think we'll just.
Okay,
Time is it right now?
it's 48. So we'll come back in 6:58.
Any questions before we get started, if you're wondering what you should be reading or looking at? That one's fine. The map, that one is fine. The map has the same exact questions on it. If you read that, yes, they're exactly the same. It's just different modalities.
We will also email it to you, so you will have it in a bigger version in the future for our future work sessions. Larger print.
We still have about 4 more minutes. Does that seem like a good amount of time, or are you all ready to? I was just looking at your faces and looking at some of the indications, so. So I'm not, yes, you want to come together, back together? Are you still reading? Okay, awesome. So with that, I know that we are at time, and so we have about 7 more minutes. We can cut it short now and know that we can come back and have these discussion questions and continue with our proposal at another time, or we can go ahead and push through for about the next 7 minutes.
I have some questions.
Sounds like, okay. I don't know, Chair, yeah, Vice Chair? Okay, sounds good. We offered an opportunity for you to give some thoughts here, but we're also available to answer some questions first. Would you like us to answer some questions that you have first?
I would.
Okay.
I'm not the chair, sorry. How widely is this being used?
Great question.
And can you give examples of how it's been used effectively?
Awesome. It has not officially been launched at the college yet.
Okay.
We've done our first pilot learning session, and we're doing our second pilot learning session at our summer in-service next week. However, what we've been doing is using the Cougar Pause to think through the launch. So we are asking ourselves, by going through these questions, how can we create a successful launch of this tool at the college? And it's actually going very well so far. We really focused on connecting with our part-time classified employees and our associate faculty employees, because usually they're some of our associate faculty is our largest employee group. And so having been a part-time faculty or associate faculty before, many of them are working full-time jobs, doing other things, and come and teach 1 or 2 classes here a day. So it's 1 or 2 classes a term, or maybe 1 class a year. And we were trying to think of, how do they know what's going on at the college? How do they get their information if they're the furthest away from like the day-to-day here on campus? And so we were like, let's focus on how they hear from us and where they're getting information. And that's where we're starting to get our information about, and it is informing our launch.
I also do want to mention that we did utilize the Cougar Pause for the implementation of it. We utilized it during the budget process several times as well.
Yeah.
Throughout our different work groups, working through it, we had them look at some of the questions as they were going through the proposals that came before them. We had them utilize some of the questions to try to think outside the box or think of different things that maybe they wouldn't have thought of when they were just looking at the proposals themselves.
So even though it hasn't officially launched, we're
Utilizing it.
we're utilizing it and trying to ease our way into it and kind of socializing it in different ways to take away the potential resistance of it being something that's mandated that they don't understand how to use. So we're working on different strategies around that.
You've used some form of this
Oh yeah.
prior, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear success stories, right, as this progresses.
Awesome.
And see how it's kind of changed the thinking, or what evolved from it, right?
We're actually hoping that you guys will be one of those success stories. Reason why is because as we move through these many work sessions that we have with you, we're hoping to try to utilize the tool, and that you will utilize the tool in our board policy reviews. That's just one way of many that the board could utilize the tool when making decisions. But we were thinking, as a test case or a protocol, we would have you try it out initially with our board policy review and maybe review a policy or 2. And then obviously take it, the board policy review committee of the 3 members of the board would utilize it every single time they review policies. And you would have initially done it as a group, and then they will take it over and use it as the tool that they start with. And then when the policy comes back before the board for approval, you will have known that at least 3 of your board members have already utilized the tool and have implemented whatever came out of those discussion questions into the policy to make it that much better before it came before you.
Just a quick question, Katie. You said that during the budgetary process, you utilize this tool. That is probably something that we could hear the examples of what was the success and how did you go about obtaining that success. It will make it a little bit quicker for us, because as Wade said, we're old people. So
One of the ways that I think that it's going to take a little bit more time for us to compile exactly how it was used, because it was used in multiple different ways throughout the process. So the budget advisory subcommittee utilized it for certain pieces of it. The preparers of, like, as folks were thinking about making budget proposals, they were asked to utilize it in different ways and different renditions of it. And again, this is a long tool. It doesn't just, you can't just sit down and do it in a day. There's processes of going forward and back. And we're still learning how to implement it across the board. But there were multiple at different times throughout the budget process, some version of a set of these questions was asked throughout that process. And I think we had a very successful process.
So then this is the evolution step.
If you, oh my gosh, it's like, I feel like that, how much time do you really have? Okay, I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. So the original framework was a list of questions. But what we heard from folks is, I don't know how to use the questions. So maybe I answer like, who's the most impacted by, like, if you're asking yourself, who's the most impacted person by this decision? Well, how are you the most informed person to answer that question? Maybe you don't know. So you're like, what do I do? No, like, I don't know who is. So folks didn't know what to do with the next steps. Like, even if they answered the question, they're like, they got stuck. And so what we wanted to provide was a sequence of questions that would inspire some type of action, reflection and action, and a collaboration step. Like, so if I'm going to pinpoint where I would like to focus or who I'm trying to center my decision or my planning around, maybe I need to give myself time, go talk to members of that group or a trusted member that could go talk to that group that can come back and give me feedback. And then I might have to go back to my original thought of what I thought I was going to do and change it, because the feedback that I got was, I shouldn't move forward with this. I need some more work before I move forward. Or we're right on track, and now we're ready to bring some of those folks in as collaborators throughout the rest of the process. Those are the types of things that didn't necessarily exist in regards to instructions in the first rendition. And we are not getting rid of the first one. It's still an appendix to this. So you can still go back and use it and ask yourself those questions or utilize any of the prompts in that, from the original framework. That's one of the major changes. Uh-huh.
Maybe give us a picture.
Well, we have not quite officially launched it yet. However, like within shared governance, again, it's not a secret. If people want to use it, they can. So this is something that we might have to have further discussions about when we talk about mandating things versus knowing that you're going to be asked about it, which would cause you to want to use it because you'll be asked about it, versus being forced to use something that doesn't feel right or feel like a good fit. Again, and it's the type of tool that you can use for long-term planning. It's the type of tool that you can use for a review of something. It's the type of tool that you can make a quick decision with, but obviously you're not going to go through the whole process. So folks have to kind of test it on and test it and try it to see how it might fit in. However, in our shared governance model, we do have a community of practice, that are diversity, equity, and inclusion community of practice. And there are liaisons from each one of the councils that we join together and really talk about, like, what are the different ways that we might be able to utilize this. And another example would be the budget advisory subcommittee, which they used one section of it in their subcommittee. And that was in the finance council. So,
Just to
yes.
add in a little bit, In the shared governance handbook, when a council or group is supposed to make a decision, they're asked to use an equity tool. This is the equity tool now that they would use. So it's built into that process as well.
I will say, I saw Irene came off, but Vice Chair, I just want to know, we've probably gone through our 7 minutes. What's most important if we maybe get Irene's question answered, and then we know we can come back together and have further discussions about this.
Well, I wanted to commend you for the visual because it's a lot easier to read. I know there's a lot of writing on the side, but the visual kind of really prompts you to get there really quickly. So thank you for making it easy to follow with the visual.
I free-handed that. I'm just kidding. We actually used professionals to help us come up with the visuals. Thank you.
And I had a comment along the same lines. It seems less cumbersome and easier to use than prior versions that we'd had discussed at our
Mhm.
level. And I think we'll all benefit from it. I think you did a
hope
good
so.
job here. Seems like an easier tool to use.
So we are, just to wrap it up, we will be coming back to you at a couple different work sessions. We're hoping to plan a work session, a virtual only work session sometime in August, and come back and finish our proposal to you on how we would like to use the Cougar Pause to develop a mini tool for you to take a look and when you're reviewing board policies and utilize that mini tool to go through board policies so that you can get through them a little quick and a very succinct and standardized. So it kind of standardizes a process for you. But in the interim, when we first come back to you, we'll go over probably these discussion questions, have you refresh your memory on the Cougar Pause tool again. We will also send you an electronic version of this, so it'll be in a bigger font for you. And then we will also ask you some discussion questions about the proposal and the mini tool as we move further through this process. We are really excited about this journey with you and lots more to come.
Thank you. Thank you all. We're looking forward to it.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So do you want to adjourn the work session, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'd like to adjourn this work session and we will get back to you in about how many minutes? 1 minute. 1 minute. You have 1 minute.
Let's do this.